All right, y'all. True Homes in the building.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, well, Florence, one guy I already know me. I'm and then this managing partner of the Valley Division, Britni Muti. Nice to meet you all. So what we have here for you guys today is the builder perspective of what's going on here in the real estate markets. All right now. This information is really cold because this comes from our executive. And so it is top tier, great realistic information. I've got Britni with us here to kind of interpret it for us as well. So this is really more conversational than anything. We're not trying to talk at you. We're trying to talk with you. So just chime in, let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know if you have any deeper explanations. Feel free to take notes and let us know. What do you guys think?
How's everybody feeling about the market right now?
Sorry for the low energy. We just glazed over this hour long of fire agent commission fights and all that stuff. So try to get some more energy for everybody.
Yeah, that's
okay.
So yeah, that's good. Like Lauren said, what we're really looking at here, and we'll go through a couple slides. I think that there's probably like 20 or so. And at any point, if anybody's like, hey, stop, help me understand kind of what that means more, just let me know. Again, I'm really here just to kind of relay what this information means from a builder's perspective. There's no conflicting opinion. There's conversation is the way I'm looking at it. And so if anybody has any questions, just feel free to stop me. Okay.
Let me move that out
of the way
topic
right now, right? So interest rates as of July 9th. And so I get this information from internally from our corporate office, and they're saying right around 7%, which I think we all kind of, it might have fluctuated a little bit underneath, but still that's a hot topic of the day. One thing I just want to make sure we leave off this whole screen, which is like super big perspective here, is that True Homes can offer rates as low as 4.75 today. And I know that a lot of builders right now are kind of pushing that, right? And so it's really important to know Celina and Lauren, because they're the gals who are going to know what communities and what homes that essentially applies to. And so big concessions here, right? As a builder and a builder who cares, a local builder, we obviously realize that affordability is an issue right now. And so the only way we can make an impact here is buying down interest rates. And so that's one thing that we're working on right now. But just to see a 4 right in front of a interest rate going now is pretty exciting.
And one thing that we do in our sales process with absolutely everybody that comes through our door is we go through monthly payments and we talk about real numbers, so then they have a better understanding of what that can get them and what home that may land them on. Because at Copper Ridge, we start in the high 300s and we go all the way up to the 600s. So what floor plan are you looking at today? What do you need? Do you need 4 bedrooms, or are you looking for 5? So that buy down is huge, because that could also bring your monthly payment down, but also your purchase price up. That could go from 425 to 475. So we talk about that with everybody. So we're talking about qualifications and monthly payments.
And I'm sure you guys have all had this situation before, where someone comes in and they kind of flash you a pre-qual, but then maybe monthly payment was really never discussed with that particular lender, right? And then you guys are kind of ready to make a move, and you're like, wait, they're not ready for a $3,000 monthly payment, but it maybe wasn't discussed, right, with the loan officer. So we make sure we go that extra point and that extra level to make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of buying power and what that relates to a monthly payment. And a big impact from almost 7%, just under 5%, could mean $300 off their monthly payment, which could mean them not affording a home at 7% and then actually being able to afford a home now at 4.75. So big deal. So obviously these ladies are the experts in that space. So reach out to them and they'll help you out. Employment trends, we look at all this kind of stuff. Obviously, we're in new construction, we're building inventory, and we're creating that. And so one thing that I could say that's really positive about the Raleigh market, and that we're really lucky to be in this area, in this region, right? The employment has always been really, really great. Last time this slide I saw was about last year. It was about double the amount of employment, but trends right now are focusing right over 22,000. So really great space to be selling real estate, in my opinion. This kind of just shows a different graph. I mean, even if you look where that plummeted, that was obviously the beginning of COVID. And then if you look, I mean, even from pre-pandemic levels, I've just never seen more growth in Raleigh in terms of employment. So the trend is going to start to maybe level out a little bit. But still, if you guys look at that graph, I mean, we haven't seen that kind of growth in a long time in Raleigh. So we're in a great space again. Permits. So for permits, in terms of like what that looks like, what does that like immediately think Does anybody have an idea? Like, what does that mean when you look at permits in terms of how that relates to real estate?
How many houses are building or
Right.
planning on building?
Yeah, what else does that mean?
It's another set of brains, like looking at the forecast for the economy. If
Yeah.
builders feel good about what's coming, like we can convey that to consumers. Well, permits are out, builders feel good about it, so.
Yeah, it means that we're building more inventory, guys. Things are getting approved, and so we're gonna start to be able to see more of that inventory coming to the space, which is huge. And then just overall, this is kind of a year over year look. Year to date, they're up 10%. So if you look at kind of where they're at, and here's the thing, guys, we can't necessarily forecast what it's going to look like outwards of December. We can only kind of give you the information of what we currently have. And so right now, even though I'm presenting July information, it's kind of a little bit of a lag. And so where we kind of paused right now is at May. If you look, May's number is just over 6,822. That's kind of the same trend line going all the way to December. Again, we still have to catch up to this information of where we're going to be. But obviously, if you look at just last year, which is that orange bar, we're already over where we were last year. So that's a big plus. I mean, again, inventory is coming. The builder market, to your point, what's your name? Sorry, I've seen your Instagram videos. Justin, I've been reposting on coverage. No one really looks high Instagram, just me and my kids. Anyway, that's a big deal. But that's massive to know, because again, that's really more job security for everybody in this room. There's more inventory, there's more homes. People feel confident, to your point, Justin, that builders are good, and we feel we have really good confidence in terms of acquiring more land, building more homes, which in a sense you would want to partner with a builder because we have the inventory, right? And we can create it.
Can I ask a
Sure,
question?
absolutely.
So from a builder's perspective, on our side, we're hearing, we're buying down interest rates at 4.75. We're offering $20,000 in concession. So the story we're hearing on our end is the builders are hurting
Oh, okay.
because they
I think
have
that's the narrative, right?
Yeah, so that's
a
what.
narrative.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
if we're seeing how, I guess my question is, how far out do they look
Sure.
when they're making these decisions? If we're seeing in the market that inventory for new construction is up, obviously, if they're
Yeah.
having to give away and incentivize people to buy,
Sure.
why is that kind of why aren't the narratives matching up, so to speak? I guess that's my
Well,
question.
I think, and I can only give you guys my opinion.
Yeah,
okay?
and
So
that's what that's why you're here.
disagree.
That's why we're here for.
My opinion.
Yeah.
It's a great, absolutely great question. I think it depends on the builder. We're public, or I'm sorry, we're private. We're not public. So I think it depends on the narrative, right? A lot of public builders, they'll just sell out and they'll just essentially acquire another builder. It's no big deal for them. So I can't speak for other builders. I can speak for True Homes, but we look at it a completely different business model than any other builder really looks at. And to answer your other question, I'll round it out for you. But we look at projects outwards of 2027 plus. So we're still purchasing land in Raleigh. We're actually growing. I got here. I was the managing partner about 5 years now at this region. I've been with True Homes 9 years. I did kind of everything these ladies done and a little bit less than that, right? But what I've seen just over the time, all we really care about is affordability.
Mhm.
And so it depends on your spin, right? If you look in the narrative today of what's on the news, what do you guys see the most? Oh my God, the sky's falling.
Yeah.
Interest rates are so high. Affordability is a thing. Well, the only way to combat that is to buy down rates. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so our perspective in terms of like giving incentives away, it's a seasonal thing.
Mhm.
When the interest rates do drop a little bit, even below 6%, I guarantee you guys you're going to see all those incentives being pulled back.
Oh yeah.
Because people can afford homes now.
Yeah.
So essentially, from our point of view, it is affordability.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily, we're not struggling by any means.
Yeah.
But last month, we sold 41 homes. So I mean, that's a big deal for us to be able to have that as a private local builder.
Yeah.
And so I think I can't speak for any other builder, but I can say for us, we're not necessarily hurting.
No.
Is it harder out there to make sales? I think everybody in this room would say, yeah, absolutely, because it's a challenging environment. But I think it's also the narrative of what's occurring in the news, in the headlines.
And the flip side, just to let you all know what we think. I mean,
Sure.
our thing is that builders are going to build regardless. So I mean, that's why,
Yeah.
and then, like I said, I know it's a long game. It's not it's a marathon because you have to plan 4 or 5 years out.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and we do. And so that's
Yeah.
the beauty of working for a builder too. And also, one thing on the builder perspective, that provides everybody that works at True Home sustainability.
Yeah.
Right. So we're also not that type that's going to look at like selling 500 this year and then maybe going back to 300 next year. We're on a consistent, we want to grow in health and in strength. So what I was trying to get at is when I first got here 5 years ago, we were probably selling about 180 homes, and now we're over just over 300. And then our journey to 500 sales are coming. And so if that gives you kind of any inclination of how confident we feel about the market,
Absolutely.
and this data that helps us provide that confidence, That's why we're so in tune with this kind of stuff. And I could probably say this confidently. I don't know if there's a lot of other new construction companies coming out here to provide this kind of data for you guys. Like, hey, here's how we feel about the market. Doesn't mean you have to agree, but this is our opinion.
Yeah.
And so really, again, I just like to make it conversational because I don't think this is occurring enough for you guys.
Yeah,
In terms of from a builder's perspective.
Well, like I said, I mean, the narrative we see is, oh my gosh, they must be hurting if
Yeah.
they're offering $25,000 out the door for a buyer. They must really need to sell these houses.
But if you look at it this way too, like what listings have you guys ever put on the market that you're like 4.75% interest rate? Probably not many.
Yeah.
So the difference is between like selling a resale versus selling a new construction company, we can compel buyers because of that narrative.
Yeah.
But as a listing agent, how can you guys really do that? Right? I mean, you can. I mean, I guess you can advertise that, right? But from a builder's perspective, we have such a broad audience. In order to get traffic, you have to put something out there
Exactly.
that's compelling.
Incentivize.
Yeah, incentivize. And again, I can't speak for every builder, but I can say we're in a very healthy position in terms
Excellent.
of true homes. So,
Excellent. Next.
yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And then sales are up. I know this is kind of a funky slide. I got to talk to Don about that. Don't look at that number. But sales are up. And I would just say, honestly, I would say sales are up, and we're looking at specifically June year over year. But I would say they're probably going to coast for a minute. I mean, that's just my perception of kind of what I've been looking at in terms of the market. I don't think I'm going to see like a major spike in sales, but I think it's going to be pretty consistent, at least from what I've seen. And then year over year, or I'm sorry, year to date, sales are down when you look at overall. But that also, if you guys looked at some of the permits, that has something to do with it. Again, there's a lag in the permitting. And so if you don't have the permits caught up to date, how can you sell that inventory? It means it's not existing yet. And so that's just another narrative, right? You can look at this and be like, oh my God, we're down, guys, we're down bad. But we're really not, right? We're talking maybe 4%. And then again, you've got to look at what's on the other hand. It could be, well, permits, they're up, but they haven't been. And so that's the narrative that I would challenge everybody in this room to make sure you're really understanding what that means. Because that's what affects when you see this. So if you saw this in the news today, sales are down, would you guys all be like, I'm panicking a little bit, right? But if you said, on the other hand, permits are up, it means we have a lag in terms of permits to sales. So it's something to kind of wrap your mind around. These slides are really awesome. I kind of geek out about this information, if you guys couldn't probably tell, but this is really cool because this basically shows kind of number of storefronts all throughout Raleigh. If you look at 2023 compared to where we are today in 2024, July specifically, in July we had 292 storefronts all active, meaning they were all new construction storefronts. They were just under model homes. Yeah, thank you. Just under, sorry. 292. And if you look at where we're at today in July, it's 253. So what does that tell you?
They're selling.
We're selling out.
Yeah.
There's no more land to be built, right? So what happens when you see something like that, when you're looking at the Raleigh MSA? You got to go out further, guys. That's what's going to happen. And so that's just something we all have to wrap our mind around. I've talked to some agents before. They're like, I only sell in Cary. I'm like, well, you're going to have to sell where the buyers are because they're not always going to be in Cary. Because we are always going to have buyers that have, $7 to $1 million budget. That's just the reality of the market. And that's the reality of where we're going. And also it's going to be a conversation of, hey, this is what you can afford, not, hey, do you want a townhome or do you want a single family? It's going to have to be shifting to a conversation of, hey, a townhome, if you want to own a home, is going to be the reality based off your budget. That's again, my opinion. And the data is kind of telling me that. Anybody have questions on anything so far? Okay. Now we're going to break it down by county. And so if you look at Wake County, kind of the same story. At Wake County, we had 205 storefronts and we're down to 172. And if you look, this orange here is attached. So that's all townhomes compared to the detached, which is blue, which is single family. So again, that same narrative I was telling you guys about, you guys are going to have these conversations with some of your clients and your prospects. Yes, ma'am.
This is all builders.
This is all of Wake County, all builders. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
This was fun.
Yeah, that was real fun. Yeah, that was real fun.
July 2018. I remember that Sunday, boy.
Real fun.
Vacation that year.
If you guys look though, what's occurring, there's a trend line of it going down.
Yeah.
That's
Well, they're running out. Yeah, I mean, like you said,
running out of land.
Yeah.
Luckily for you guys, you're going to want to stay connected with these ladies because we have 600 plus lots coming over the next 2 to 3 years in Wake County.
And I'm sure the Johnson County and Harnett County graphs are looking the opposite direction where you're starting to see.
Yeah, but you have a good overview on what that is. And then to your point, you'll start seeing, and did anybody have questions on Wake? A lot of y'all selling Wake? Yeah. Okay. But to your point, you'll see it, because exactly what you said, you've got the correct mindset on where we're going with it.
Oh, perfect.
Similar
See,
situation,
I-
right?
We didn't
It's like,
talk, we
okay,
didn't talk
better,
prior to this. I'm not,
better, good.
I'm not seeing these up for her. I was just.
She's not, I swear. And so one thing you'll see, it's very consistent in terms of growth. We're one short, and that could be a timing thing at this point. If, to your point, Keith, correct?
Yep.
It's only gonna probably likely go up. And we're in a really great position in Johnson County right now because the bulk of it is single family. And so that's where the direction of where a lot of your conversations are gonna go with some of your prospects. Hey guys, Johnson County might be something we wanna go look at, right? We have 3 communities in Johnson County just ourselves. And so that's a really big win, I think, to be in the space of the builders. And obviously you guys knowing these ladies here will help you guys out, because again, all you gotta do is make a quick phone call to them and they can help you sell in any true homes community. It doesn't have to be just where they physically sit. So that's just good to know. Any questions on this one? Durham, I think that's kind of just a given. You're gonna probably always see this continuously decrease. And a big plus, kind of like a mirror of Wake County, you're gonna see a lot more townhomes coming into this space. Durham is just really expensive. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, as a builder, we can't afford to go build there because we can't go give you guys the prices of affordability. If we go pay 200 for a blank lot, 200,000, which is that basically would equate to a purchase price of maybe like 800, right? And so again, that's just not affordable. But some of the builders who can do it, they're going to do it, and they're doing the townhome space because it, again, providing affordability. And then Durham County, so again, kind of the same story. Do a lot of y'all sell in Durham? Every now and then, very random, yeah. And then month supply, guys, this is something that everybody really knows about. What's equilibrium? 6 months, yeah. And so I think I've heard some narratives from some of the conversations I've seen from different agents and different brokers in charge that we're getting healthy. As if we're under 6 months supply, we're not in a healthy environment. It's still basically a seller's environment, a seller's market, if you will. But the one thing I would probably focus on, if you really look at the change column, which is all the way to the right here, we're maybe less than half a month in terms of where we were at year over year last year to where we are today in terms of where we're at for months.
Now, this is total, this isn't just new construction, this is just
This is
total
everything.
inventory,
Yep.
okay.
Correct, total inventory. And I think new construction could weigh that down a little bit, specifically in Harnett County. You'll start to see Harnett County go up a little bit. And that's because if anybody sold out there recently, I mean, DRB by itself has like 6 communities within 5 minutes of each other. So there's a lot of inflation in terms of inventory because it's all mainly new construction. If anybody's been out there lately, there's a lot going on over there, so. There's a ton. I mean, literally, you have a client and they want new construction. You're like, what about Harnett County?
It's like drive from Andrew
You
to
can literally drive from
Wellington.
building to building to
Yeah.
builder. Yeah. Again, no surprise, but I'm just breaking it down on a month supply, but in terms of price bands of 10,000. And so again, kind of not a shock to anybody, but we're literally under 1.5 month supply, I think it is, for Durham. And so again, not a surprise, but it's just very, very unhealthy in terms of inventory in Durham. Same thing for Harnett County in terms of, you'll see more of that inflation number. One thing I want to make sure everybody's clear on too, if you guys see a number of like 21 months of supply, you have to pay attention. Here's that other hand, Keith, right? Like on one hand, you're like, oh yeah, there's 24 months or 21 months of supply in this price band. Well, there's 7 active listings and none of them are under contract. And so that has to show you there's going to be a skewed perception of 21 months of supply because they're just active, nothing's under contract. And so it skews that information and it shows that there's 21 months supply of inventory in just that price band, when in actuality, nothing's under contract. So it just skews the numbers. And so overall, if you look, we're still under 3.5 months supply, even with that kind of inflated number per price band. But you can see where the hot spot is, right? There's a real need for pricing anywhere from 250 upwards of 340.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just, if they are going live on active, they're going under contract rather quickly.
Incorrectly priced.
Incorrectly priced.
If it's 21 months, that's probably way off.
Sitting, yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Especially if there's 7 active listings, that's a good point.
Right.
Like that. Now you guys get this. I know that this is coming from True Homes
Mhm.
Corporate. Is there any way that on the MLS that we could break something down like that?
Oof, I can ask. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always, if you can follow up in the email for me, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I can always see if there's additional.
I mean, I know that
information.
there's certain info sparks and a couple I've never seen it
Yeah.
actually broke down like this. I mean, this is
And
really.
typically they pull it from MLS. I just don't know if they have that additional data to
I
be able
got
to
you,
pull
I
per
got you, I got
transaction, but it's always worth an ask in my opinion.
Yeah.
Johnson
Johnson County.
Johnson County again, but if you guys also saw, that's where both of the opportunity is in Johnson County in terms of the direction that we're headed for new construction. So a lot of inventory is coming that way. But as you can see, it's the permits are likely holding that process up, which is why you see again, you know, a limited amount of supply. And I just don't see, that's a structural issue, guys. It's not going away in 5 years. We've been underbuilding for quite some time. So in order for us to catch up, we may not see that for another 10 to 15 years in terms of when we catch up. Because again, it's a structural issue.
Wake County's
Yeah,
just
it's all red, guys. Like it's probably the perfect bingo board if you ask me. But yeah, again, under 2 months supply of inventory, really almost about a 1.5 month supply. So knowing that we're going to have potentially 600 plus lots in Wake County, again, knowing these girls is really helpful because you guys can get in on some of the information prior to. Median days on market, I think there's again kind of a misconception of narrative on, oh, houses are sitting much longer. Do I think they are? Yeah, absolutely. I think they are. But again, I think it all boils down to affordability. But what we're seeing here is median days on market's 5 days or less. And specifically these counties. So Wake is 5, Durham's 5, Johnson's 4. Harnett, in my opinion, that's a skewed perception because there's so much new construction and they count calendar days on market as 0.
It's pulling it down.
They're pulling it down. So again, I think that if your client's really interested in new construction, they're open to Harnett County, that's the spot to go to. And we have some communities out there as well. So again, these ladies will be helpful, but that's just a skewed perception, in my opinion, for Harnett specifically. In general, we're getting, you know, offers at list price, asking price, or just really slightly below. What are you guys experiencing in the market right now on some of your listings?
It depends.
Okay. Yeah.
Priced right and prepped right, they're
Right.
moving. If it's overpriced and
Yeah.
they didn't want to put carpet in or paint, it's sitting. I mean,
Yeah, it's sitting.
the buyers are way more picky because of the affordability.
Yeah, I agree.
Construction listings are sitting.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think again, to that point, they're not doing a strike price, right? There's a strike price and there's like, hey, if I sit on this for a little bit, I'd be all right, right? As a builder, right? I think people are thinking that direction. When I'm looking at pricing out homes, I'm like, what's my strike price? What's going to get it under contract in 2 or 3 days, right?
Lots of incentives though have been helping, even
Yeah.
in resales, I'll tell you, like,
Yeah.
that has been. an
Have you seen that?
incentive.
Yeah. Have you been seeing on
I'm doing
resale
it
they're
my
offering?
own
Yeah, you guys
listings,
are
yeah,
offering.
and that seems to be the thing that draws the agent in.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to tweak some things if they really
Absolutely.
feel like they need to see that number
Yeah.
on the HUD.
Yep.
But, you know, at the end of the day, we're all doing the thing that we all want.
Yeah.
It's, they wanna buy the house, they wanna sell the house.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Good point. I think maybe you exited the room. We were talking about that for a minute. Yeah. You kind of validated my point. So thank you. Annualized price appreciation, the houses are still going up, even though you guys see reductions. Again, I think if you're looking at it from a perception of it was priced incorrectly in the first place, you're seeing all these reductions on the pricing in terms of new construction. That's what I'll speak to. I think that's what's playing into this conversation of, oh, prices are getting slashed. No, guys, they're just not being priced correctly in the first place. That's why they're sitting. And so I think you know, this just tells us year over year we are still experiencing price increases. And matter of fact, I did one on the way over here in Benson Village, one of our communities in Johnson County. So that's a real thing. I'm still keeping up with a specific target per county that I'm going to make sure we hit that percentage. And this, I don't normally share this kind of information, but I thought it'd be really cool to show you guys kind of how we're positioned in each submarket. Obviously you guys sell in, it sounds like maybe some of them, most of them of where we currently are. And so what I wanted to show you guys is just kind of how we're positioned against other resales and other new construction. And so this is Tanglewood East. This is one of our, these are all active transactions. And so in the light blue bars is where we are positioned in terms of the rest of the market, right? So if you're looking at other new construction, you'll see we are priced below the market. Normally you want to be kind of like in the middle, in the meat of the market of when you go and price out a new community, call it, right? And you're setting base prices for homes. This is where we're at compared to the meat of the market. So it's really good to know that no matter what with your homes, you're still going to get an incredible value at a great price.
Where is Tanglewood?
Tanglewood's in Anger.
it's cute.
Yeah, it is really
Downtown
expensive.
Anger.
Yeah, you can literally walk to downtown Anger. You got to go 2 blocks and then you're on 210.
It's
Yeah.
their, I think we have.
Oh, yes, it's that was across the
Catherine
street.
Tree.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
Cute little
Oh,
area.
there we go. Bowie's Creek.
Bowie's Creek, these are new townhomes that we have. They're 1,300 square feet, just a little bit over, no garage, but they're right next to Campbell University. We have them starting at $239,900, upwards of $250,000, depending on end unit, front porch, some different things that we have going on there. But again, if you can see, no one's entering in that space where the orange bar is. That's actually us, those 2 transactions that were listed on MLS. And the rest are all, yes, they're higher in square footage, but you're talking about maybe 3 price bands higher. And so when you're talking about affordability, it's not an option. But for us, we're buying down interest rates, 15K is what I'm giving for seller pay closing costs just to get people qualified. The HOA is a little bit higher. It's $200 a month when you have a 72. Yeah, when you know, it's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. But that's what it is, right?
Across from Campbell,
It's literally right next door to Columbia.
because
It is.
families that are in med school or whatever
Yeah.
else there that.
Precisely. So we're also, I'm allowing investors, I'm only doing 7 max and we already sold out 5. So we have 2 left. And so if anybody does want an investment opportunity, yourselves or somebody, a client, that's an opportunity. 239, we're good. Yeah. So I want to apply that same incentive of 15K towards for an investor. I really want primary buyers to be able to afford a home. And so I will not honor that same incentive for an investor because again, my gravitational pull is to help the environment community and the people who want to live in a home versus renting. And so that's really our foot forward movement is we're really focused on helping, the people who are even local, right? Because I mean, think about all the in-net migration from people coming from California, New York, Florida, believe it or not, they've got some deep pockets and they're kind of bidding out on some people who are local and we want to help the locals as well.
Is that community the one on Main Street?
No, yeah, that's not us.
Look, cause I, never mind, cause.
They're right off Gregory Circle. It's kind of like right past, like if, yeah, you can't miss.
Soccer field right there.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know they were building something up on Main Street if you went like behind campus.
We're always looking, so if you
Yeah.
guys have any big land deals, send them our way. Benson Village, another really hot community that we're at. I think April mentioned she might have just done a deal with somebody over there. Again, kind of if you look at that light blue bar, when I was first pulling these transactions, guys, there was like nothing. There was like nothing out in Benson Village, in Johnson County out there, specifically in Benson. But again, if you look at it, it's just a pure value. No matter what square footage you potentially buy with us, you're just starting at a really great value. Copper Ridge, that's where these 2 ladies are. And so again, this similar same message, we're also the only builder left in Flowers right now that can build a client a home. And so there's no other option but True Homes right now in terms of building a house from the ground up and picking out your selections, going to the design studio. That's still a factor with True Homes. We're not changing that. We're not making you pick selections from a garage. You're getting to go to a full-on design studio appointment. Doesn't matter if your budget's 300 or if your budget's 600, you still get the same experience. But again, just kind of where we're positioned is really well. And then North District, I don't know if you guys have seen those townhomes before. They're incredible. They're kind of a product of its own. And so you do pay for that. I will say that.
They're really, really cute.
Thank you. And so the other transactions you will see are Dan Ryan at Whitley Corner and just quality and production just is completely different, right? And so when you're looking at our towns, to your point, what was your name? Lauren, thank you.
Yes.
They're gorgeous. I mean, we have the metal roofs, we have the
Yeah.
cement siding. You're just not comparing apples to apples in that specific market. This is also the one community in Flowers Plantation that will be connected via sidewalk to the waterfront district. So the value on these homes, I mean, we can't keep some of our larger square footage we're just selling out of them like crazy.
Even the townhouses are.
Yeah, those are the townhouses. Yeah,
amazing.
they're
Like,
awesome.
They're just,
Yeah.
that whole area is so cute.
One more time, just gonna record it. And then Lake Royale, I don't know if you guys know we're out there, but we're out by the lake in Lewisburg. Yeah, so it's a really fantastic neighborhood. It's very eclectic, really cool. There's a golf side and there's a lake side. We don't have any lots that are on the lake, but they're very close. But again, if you guys look at where our blue bars are, I've set the pricing when we got out to this community really well in terms of there's no reason not to execute out here and not to bring your clients out here because we will be reasonably priced compared to every other builder. And there's more custom kind of feel out there, but again, we're going to give more of that semi-custom production feel. But it's going to be really, kind of one-on-one. We really care about each client, and it's not going to be spec builds. A lot of those custom builders out there are still spec builders. We're still offering both, right? Showcase homes, which is inventory, and then build from the ground up, pick your lot, which we own, and then you guys build your home on that lot. I think that might be it.
Let's see. It
As you've
is.
seen. Does anybody have any questions about True Homes, kind of our communities
Can we get a
or?
copy of that?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Well, you have it, I think, right?
I do.
Yeah.
If I have your permission.
You have my permission.
Excellent.
Anybody have any questions about what these ladies do, kind of, about True Homes, the direction, where we're headed? The market data that I just shared was helpful. I'm always really big on
Comment
feedback.
question from last time y'all were here. I do remember y'all mentioning that you would welcome us to host open houses for you.
Oh, yeah.
Just to let everybody know,
Yeah.
that's a really cool thing. So I had really on that.
Question about that. So if we host an open house for you guys, do you guys, are y'all the ones that put out the signs and balloons, or is that still up to us?
Yeah, with flowers specifically, we do have to have the appropriate flower signage, so we do have those and we can put them out. Board with you, you know, or you can get, and then of course we do have balloons too, but we've had people bring their huge like banners and stuff, the ones that wave in the air, so. Up to you on what you wanna do, but it's more of like a joint thing, so just let us know how we can help you and work together on it. We've had. Different events with people, like I've done a come on over and we brought like. Ton of cookies and we advertise that and then like get special incentives for the open houses if we just focus on one big event. So we just wanna partner with you and figure out how we can make sale on our homes.
Yeah, last weekend we actually partnered with one of our preferred lenders and a realtor, and we had an ice cream social, so our lender sponsored an ice cream truck and we advertised that at MLS for the broker who was sitting on site, so anyone who came out was able to get ice cream. And then we invited our homeowners, so if they wanted to send over someone for a referral, or if they just wanted to get some ice cream and check on the new houses. We had like over 40 people come to that, it was a good opportunity too.
Who's your preferred lender? Is it local or are you guys in-house financing?
We're not in-house.
So you use, okay, who is it?
We've got 5, so we work with specific people right now that work at Movement, Wells Fargo, Truist, US Bank, and Bank.
Also,
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, we appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much. And if you guys need anything off your home, Celina Hill or your gals. Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
And they also brought food, so.
They should help if I brought my phone. It's okay. Yeah.
I do want spot, because those two birthday flowers. Amazing, and like every time I bought, the only reason my parents haven't bought out. Is because it's too far from where they needed to be, like they work more RTP, but. Like, it's always packed out there, right? So, yeah, and they're very buyer agent.
Oh, they are so
Right,
very
they are
friendly.
amazing,
Love
yes. Years ago,
Yeah, these
before
are
we started doing all the new construction that Eagle has, Blair was like one of their big partners, and she used to work all the time for them.
They always
Yes.
pay 3% to buyers agents, and they have a huge party every year, and they to like people who sell their houses, and they give away so much stuff.
Yeah, they do a lot of agent bonuses, and if you sell so many, and yeah, but that would be a good one for you to do, like an open house on a Sunday or something. And on therapy, yeah, it's not far from. No. Also, I alluded that they're.
Can we talk about the big meeting at 12, in case anybody wants to hear everything they could possibly want to hear about the NAR rolling?
Yeah, because it's forms, right? North Carolina forms or,
It's a big meeting at 12.
okay, cool, I'll put it on.